Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cab and today I'm here to talk about the books that I read in the month of January. And I can say that I read a good amount of books in January because I'm kind of losing hope in reading books because I'm not getting some good books to read. So this month I read 8 books and this is a good amount of books I think to read. Maximum is 10, but if you read 8 that's good enough too. January was a mixed reading month because I DNF 2 books. I had my lowest rating of 1 and 2 stars. I got 1 5-star read. So it was a complete mixture of some pleasant books, some books that I just could not go further and read more, and some that was just okay to read. So let's just begin and talk about the books. So the very first book that I read is a sci-fi book, and this book was in the series. So this is a time traveler series. This has 3 books and it's been a long time since I read the first book. It's been 2 years, and the second and third book I read one by one. And the second book in the time traveler series is Divorce of Surya by Varun, and this book I just enjoyed because that was a good book to read. So the second book just begins where the first one has ended. In the first book, Tej fought with his own kind to save the humanity and the planet, and then he was just all set to just live his life because he think that he has saved the world. But in the second book, he was chilling out in his village and thinking that all is good, but he was just unaware of a biggest threat that was lurking on the lives of peoples of the planet and of the people of his own village. And Nefe, the main antagonist of this story, is a very strong female telekinetics who can just do anything with her telekinetic power, and she is all set to just improve her empire on this planet and just want to control all humanity. So this is all about their one is trying to just conquer the world and other is trying to save the planet from this. This whole story is set up in a futuristic world where all these things are happening, and there is a lot of scientific stuff in this. So there is a complete package of action and mass murder and so many things are here, and so it was a good read for me, but I did not enjoy it that much as I enjoyed the first book. So I ended up giving it 3 stars. And the third book in the series is Doomsday of Thomas by the same author Varun, and this is the third book in the series. And the third book begins with a very dramatic plot of abduction of a single mother from a very crowded market by 3 drones, and it was really a good beginning for any book to just know about what is going to happen in this. And the main protagonist is in nowhere to be found in the planet, and he was just gone away and no one can find him, but somehow he managed to come back to the earth where an AI has just created a hell lot of problem for the defense and security and on the lives of people because this AI is killing people. Tej is back on the earth and he has another task to save the planet from an AI, and this time it is artificial intelligence, and he always used to fight with aliens or artificial intelligence because he is a time demon and humans are not threat on this planet. So he has a task to fight with this AI to save the planet, and there is another task to save the planet from asteroid which is going to collide with this earth and wipe out everything. This book has a lot of plot twists and story changes because there is a lot of things that surprise you, and when you were just about to lose all hope that you were on the losing side, but then there came a surprising bomb which just lift your mind and it just changed a failure to a success, and this is the best thing that I find in this book. So this was much more entertaining than this second book in the series, so I just enjoyed this book, and so I end up giving it 4 stars. And the next book that I read is a non-fiction, and that is 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. And I just took ages to finish this book because I am not a very reader of non-fictions. I could not find it that interesting or whatever. I could not finish books that are non-fictions in one go. So I took 2 months to finish this book, and Well, this is Yuval Noah Harari, and he absolutely writes fantastic books, and this book is no exception. So this book, what I can talk about this book, basically this talk about the humanity that are just finding their own path to destruction, and they are just trying to rule each other, and etc etc. And there's a lot of things to just learn and read, and I think that I'm going to read it again to understand it better. There's a whole lot of good concepts in this, like what we think about AIs and how we just fear from them that they are going to rule the earth one day, but this is not the fact. So there are a lot of things to just learn and remember from this book. So I just really find it informative, so that's why I just end up giving it 4 stars. The next that I read is 3 psychological thrillers this month, which is my favorite, and I just enjoyed them a lot. So the first book is Bird Box by Josh Malerman, and I just wanted to read this for a very long time because this was a really great one, because I have watched the movie. So I wanted to read this, and I find it really interesting because I got an audiobook for it. So this is a story of an apocalyptic world where something is out in the world which drive people crazy enough to kill themselves if they look at it, and the only way to survive is to wear a blindfold. No one know what it is, and the one who saw it don't live to just tell what they saw or what it looks like. Some survivors live in an abandoned house near the river with the windows draped with blankets and door closed, and they somehow manage to survive. But after 5 years after it began, one of the survivors, Mallory, with 2 of her children, is trying to escape this, and she was dreaming to flee to a safe place for her and for her children. But the journey will be very terrifying because she has to cross the river, and she has to carry out her journey through the river. This was the only path to just go to that place where she thinks that she is going to be on the safe place. She trained her children to just go for this journey in a rowboat with blindfolds. While she make her journey through the river, something is constantly following them, and this is really terrifying to know because they can't see, they can't open their blindfold to see who is following them, and they have to just carry on their journey to just reach to that safe place. So I think this is a very great book, and this is has a lot of creepy vibes because when you are wearing blindfold and you have to go on something that you don't know about, and you have to go in the open world to just live your life, this is really terrifying and creepy enough. So I just really loved this, and I especially love the character of Mallory because she is a determined woman. She just want to live, and she want to make her children fearful, and but she is all full of fears, but she just can't show it because she have to live for her children and to make them survive. This is a tremendous story because you feel the fear when you just read about that, and especially when they wear blindfold and go outside the house. Man, this is creepy enough, and this is terrifying, and I just really loved it. That's why I end up giving it 5 stars, because I genuinely enjoyed this book, and this was a really great one. Another psychological thriller that I read this month is Darling Rose Gold by Stephanie Robel, and I was not expecting this to be a psychological thriller because I think that cover reveals a lot of things, and this is all very pinkish, and I thought that this is going to be a very cute book or something very goody story about mother-daughter relation, but I was just completely taken by surprise because this is nothing sweet and nothing beautiful. And so this talk about this girl Rose Gold, who was poisoned by her mother all her life, and she thought that she was just suffering from a severe illness, but her mother was poisoning her, and for that her mother has been sentenced to prison for 5 years, and now she is going to be released. Rose Gold welcomed her mother in her life, and she wanted to just make a good start for that. And so this book follows these 2 timelines. One is by the point of Patty, and the other is the point of view of Rose Gold when her mother was in jail. This book messed up with my mind completely, and I would never like to read this kind of relationship of a mother and daughter, because man, this is really dark story, I think. And I could not decide who is wrong or who has done more wrong to other person, because both of them were wrong, I think. But who is more, I can decide. As I told you, this is a really dark story for me, but the ending does not settle well with me. I did not enjoy the ending. I was disappointed, and I was just feeling bad for Patty. And so this was a really, I can say that I was expecting a lot from this book, but it was a complete disappointment for me. So I just did not enjoy it that much. So I ended up giving it 3 stars. Next book that I read is The Invisible Life of Eddie Laurel by V. Schwab, and I don't know in which category to put this book, but I think it can be put on historical fictions, because this has a historical background. So this follows this girl Eddie Laurel, who is just born in 70 something. Eddie made an agreement with this demon, so because she wanted to live long, and she just wanted to be she wanted to have freedom, and she don't want to belong to someone. So this demon just kind of gave her what she wanted, but in this she got tricked and was cursed that no one will remember her. She will be forgotten by every single person she met, only if they avert their eyes from her, or they just went to outside door and they will come back and they will forget her. So this was her curse, and because of this she lived 300 years and just roaming around the world. Things changed when she met a guy on a bookstore who actually remembers her, because all those 3 years no one can remember her, and this guy can remember. So everything changes. So this is all this story, but I just did not find it very interesting or very captivated read, because a lot of people were enjoying it and they were just so much into this story, but I could not relate with it, and I did not find it interesting, because I never liked this kind of story where people are just roaming around the world or living 300 and 400 years of their age. So I did not enjoy it that much, and that's why I end up giving it 3 stars. And the last book that I read is Verity by Colleen Hoover, and this is another psychological thriller that I read in the month of January. So this followed this young girl Laurel, who is a struggling writer, and then one day she got a job to continue the series of a very famous writer Verity, and because she could not continue her series, and so they decided to continue her series. Verity met with a car wreck, so she could not continue with her story because she is literally branded as in the story, so she could not write her stories. So Laurel just took up her job and she went to live with their family, and in their house she just finds something very mysterious which belonged to the past of Verity. So she just continued reading it, and things were literally changes, and then she fall for Verity's husband, and then the story continues. So I can just find out that this was literally not very interesting thriller that I could read, though the plot twist at the end was mind-blowing. That was really great, and I just enjoyed it, this one. But in the very beginning of this story, or in the middle, it was kind of a repetitive, and the same thing was happening again and again, which I can't talk about. So there only one thing that was going on. There's a lot of things that were just did not need it in that story, that was too much for this story. So that was kind of not very entertaining, but the plot twist and the end of the story was super cute. I can say super cute, sorry, but it was brilliant. I just loved it at the end. And this was the only one story so far I have read in that I could not connect with any of the characters, not with any of these. All 3 I did not like them. Especially I hated Laurel, because she is, what I can say, she is not a great person that I can make or think about. She literally stole Verity's husband, her job, her house, everything she stole, and at the end she just messed up completely. I was pissed off on her, because that was not the character that I wanted to read about. So it was not a very brilliant characters. Only thing that I just feel about Verity, so I had a small bit of sympathy for Verity, or I can say that in the comparison of all these characters, Verity was a bit good. So this was not good read, so I end up giving it 3 star. So that was it. That's what I read in the month of January. Not a very good start in the terms of reading good books, but I hope that I will read something better and great and plot twisting things in the future, so that I will enjoy it a lot more than I enjoyed it in January. So that's it. Thanks for watching, guys.